I'd like to thank you all for coming today to the folk festival by the LA County Museum of Natural History. And we are the Aikido Center of Los Angeles in downtown LA. But today we'll give you a demonstration of the art of Aikido and by the members of the Aikido Center of Los Angeles. Aikido is not competitive and a non-aggressive martial art. It's designed primarily to promote one's health and well-being and improve one's quality of life as opposed to an aggressive fighting art. However, as a martial art, Aikido is very, very effective because you can easily, without strength and size, protect yourself and keep yourself away from danger. Many of the Aikido techniques are employed by police departments all over the world as arrest techniques because they're the easiest to apply and the most effective and the simplest to learn. Aikido doesn't follow aggressive movement, but the very circular, flowing movement. So one of the, I think, unique characteristics of Aikido is that you won't see a very rough, aggressive-looking movement, but you'll see a more flowing, graceful type of movement. And sometimes we think, oh, it looks very choreographed, like a balancine or something like that. But the movement, circular movement, is very, very effective to increase the power and speed. To explain some of the principles behind Aikido. Because Aikido movement looks so graceful and looks so smooth, sometimes it looks very ineffective. When I first saw Aikido, I thought, oh, it's fake, because it's too easy. And after I went on the mat and he threw me down on my butt, then I thought, oh, maybe there's something to this. Because I didn't see how he touched me, and I didn't know what he did, but somehow I was about 4 feet away from where I was standing on my butt. And I tried to grab him again, and then I was on my butt and 5 feet in the other direction. Then I said, oh, I better take some lessons. Because I don't want to be thrown on my butt a third time. And now I don't do at all. So usually we like to see lots of strength and lots of effort. And that's the way our modern society is today. We like to do everything too much. But in Aikido, it's a very, very little effort. And Aikido tries to tap the kind of power or energy inside of yourself that, for the most part, we forgot about. Sometimes we call ki energy, or life energy, or our spirit, or nature, or God, or something, whatever you like to call it. The force which makes us human beings, which wants us to live peacefully and happily, that force is what we cultivate in Aikido, and comes from inside and very, very difficult to see. So sometimes, for instance, if he's grabbing very tight, my natural reaction is to try to push or pull away or escape. And sometimes we can use some technique to break away. But sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work, depending on how strong he is. If he's too strong, or if I become too afraid, or psych myself out, or something like this, then I can't move. So his other hand's coming, or something like this. Aikido tries to the most natural way. Just move, very easy. If he grabs two hands, of course it's very difficult to bring up. But in Aikido, it's not how to conflict with the other person, it's how to work with the other person. Hold tightly, so he's holding very more tight. So it's very difficult to move. The idea is not to go against his force, the idea is to use his force. Tight. Tight. Yeah, it's very tight. So where does that force come from? Not from outside, but comes from inside. That's very, very important. And sometimes you hear about it, but you don't know what it is. And it's that force that Aikido tries to cultivate. About 6 months ago, some robber came in and tied up this 72-year-old woman. and she was tied up in her apartment for 1 week, and no water, no food, nothing, but she's still alive. Something kept her going inside. But that kind of power defies medical science. But it's a power that we all have. So if he can pick me up, I'm heavy, but it's still very heavy. It's not my weight change, just my thinking changes. Just a little bit relaxed. No. If I'm sitting down like this, if he pushes me this way, just a little bit, I change his power. Just touch. So sometimes side like this. Of course, if I raise my hand this way, it's very easy to push hard. Great, but it's very uncomfortable as well. So I can use strength to resist him, but it's very uncomfortable. Of course, if I don't use any hand, very easy to go. So usually we say, oh, you should do 1,000 push-ups every day, and maybe you can do it. So I did 1,000 push-ups every day, but if he pushes me, it still goes over. Just a little bit. His power is coming to my shoulder. Just a little bit change his direction. So anyone can do it. If he's grabbing me tight, of course I can move, but just a little bit change his direction. You don't have to do much, just tiny bit. We always try to do too much, just a little bit. Sometimes when he's trying to hit my head, our natural reaction is to block. But if a stick or brick or knife or pipe, the arm's broken. And if he comes too strong, maybe I get hit. In Aikido, what's so simple is not to try to overcome his power, because however strong or fast I become, I can't be the strongest and the fastest. Only Sylvester Stallone can be the strongest. So if he comes hard, I have no time to get my machine gun. So when he hits, don't be here. Not like this. Not like this. Just that tiny hit inside. Idea is not, I'm not trying to be faster than him. When he strikes, his power comes, his energy comes before his hand. If I try to react to his hand, it's very, very difficult. It's very difficult. Very difficult. But everyone has kind of spirit, and his spirit comes before. So human being has to become sensitive to the other person's spirit. Then when you can feel that, then you can adjust your movement or your action. We only go by everybody's words and actions, but we never understand the other person's spirit. And that's why we have so much fighting. Idea is not to understand the word or action, but his spirit. When he strikes, that's when so if his hand is here, if he comes very far away like this, it's very easy. But if his hand is here, it's very fast, Very fast. Like this. Even this close, spirit's coming. If you just go by his hand, too fast, too close, too close. Right? Like this. Like this. So if you have knife, it looks sharp, but it's not sharp. I'm good, but I'm not stupid. If he stabs me, of course it's very dangerous because knife is coming. Let this knife go by. If he stabs me, it's very bad for him because I will sue him. But if he stabs the air, sometimes knife is here. So big stomach, so it's very easy. So idea is not to resist force, because I may be able to stop his fist, but how can my hand become stronger than a knife, or gun, or lead pipe, or chain, or rock, or something? So it's very impractical, try to stop, and very dangerous. Step hard. So at the moment his energy touches, I just move and his own body follows. Then when he passed by, just a little bit touch him and fall down nicely. If you try to force somebody, they never do anything you want them to do. But if you ask them very nicely, they do everything you want to do. That part. Stop. See? Very, very easy. Just ask very nicely. And if you ask very nicely, no more fighting. That part. Like this. So sometimes. Sometimes very difficult. If he holds tight, it's very hard to move out. Like this. But if you look behind his armpit and behind my arm, do you see some space? Yeah. Very easy. Wherever you go, there's always some space. He grabs my finger, hold tight. I can't get away, and maybe my finger is broken, but hold tight. Between my finger, there's a skin and bone, and between the skin and bone, some space. In martial arts, it can be very merciless. Either you're very strong or you die or something like that, or so you have to be very strong or very fast. Then as you get older, you get weaker and slower. Then you become the retired gunslinger, and somebody comes into town and shoots you. But in real life, it can't work that way. At every stage of life, we have to find some meaning and some enjoyment in our life, even very young or very old or young or whenever. That's very important. So, because martial arts is a way of life, always must express some hope or some happiness. But in the olden days, martial arts was very dark idea because it was a time of many wars and killing. And even though we have that today, we still have to find some meaning and enjoy our life in the time that we're on this planet. So if martial art is not just a fighting technique, but a way of life, it always must express hope. And this is one of the unique philosophy of Aikido and how Aikido has influenced martial arts today. And that's why I believe Aikido is very, very important for human beings today in our society, to teach persons of their own potential, inner potential, and how to work together and to give people hope and meaning in their life. So sometimes if one man attacks, it's rather easy to uh, beat. It's a little bit clever. But if 2 man or 3 man, it's very, very difficult. So sometimes like this, it's no hope. So I wish I could kick, but I'm Japanese, so my feet never reach. But as we said before, important is a kind of cooperation. If they're pulling like this, I can't stay like this because my arms will become longer than my feet. But if 2 against 1, it's very difficult. But this person here helps me against Brian. So this is very easy, right? And Brian, like this, is 2 against this person. So this person is very easy. So actually everybody's working together. Nobody's fighting.